Hello, my name is Denise McQuiston and I'm a collage artist. I'm here at the Palmer Public Library with my first showing of my work, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. My beginning with art, my interest in collage started many years ago when I was very young. I loved science fiction books. I devoured them. Not only because of the good writing, but because of the covers. They were surreal, they were bright, there were incredible artists doing work in the old vintage sci-fi days. And it just drew me in. And that is why I loved it. It took me into a place before the stories or books did. So as I decided to copy that or try to be that kind of artist, I wanted to pull people into a moment that took them into a little bit of mystery and out of the mundane world they were in, the boring world. And so that's where my journey began. This collage is called Will We Grow Up? Will we actually grow up? And it shows a lot about the world. It shows a lot about American society. At the top of the collage, you'll see a dove holding an olive branch, a universal sign of peace. Next to the dove is the Pope, which you can relate to peace, spiritual uplifting. Behind the Pope is a woman taking a selfie. Underneath the Pope is the symbol of Hollywood, the Statue of Liberty, my guardian angel holding her head in disgust. One of our early astronauts, John Glenn. You'll see in the corner a child, muddy, angry, having a tantrum, and a child above him just being thankful maybe just to be able to have a shirt that didn't fit him that day or something to eat. But the whole circle of this shows we have everything we need. We have more in some places where we could feed children than others. We have people in space, we have great religious minds, we have spiritual leaders, we have Hollywood making all the best movies for it. But do we want it? Do we need it? Not until we grow up. This is about the process I do with my collages because I do a lot of different things with it. I cut out old magazine pictures. I love Nat Geo, the old Nat Geos. I love vintage pictures and nature pictures from Nat Geo as well. So this one's called Dream Flight, and it's just about somebody getting back into nature. And we do this frequently, maybe not even knowing it, but we step in. We usually find a tree, and we identify that tree, and we sit under that tree, and we watch the life that comes out of that tree, bird life, plant life. It may be set in a swampy area, it may be in a grassy area, but we kind of go back to that tree often. And that's where our flight begins, our flight into where we need to go so we can come back and face times in the world today. So I cut it out, I paste it on an image. I use filters. I use digital filters so I can get some coloring and shading, and it gives it a nice finish. So it's digital, it's magazine cut, and the mystery puts it in place. This is called Priscilla's lilac bush, was her bush. And Priscilla is a 106-year-old woman that lived in Munson. She was the oldest resident there. I was her caregiver for a while. And she had a beautiful lilac bush on the side of her house that, it was over 100 years old. And it was last summer, and I knew it would be our last summer there because she was getting older and facing going into an institution. So I took a photograph of the lilac bush, and I found a vintage image that kind of fit her soul when she was younger and probably planted it. So this picture is kind of an older picture of her time. And I just transposed the lilac bush with the image I related to her, and I made it as an heirloom of the oldest woman who ever lived in Munson. And hopefully her daughter will come here, and I have this waiting for her. So when I composed this exhibit for the library, I realized there was a division in my art, that I had pre-COVID, COVID art, and post-COVID. And I've met a lot of artists who said that they discovered their art doing COVID, which I found really interesting. And a lot of art did come out of the lockdown period. This one is called Myths, and it represents, you can see someone in a temple, you can see the lotus flower, a traditionally really old symbol of spirituality and myth, and the person on the top with the typewriter and kind of keeping all of it in their head. And so before COVID hit, we were like that. We were like gathering our information, we were putting our art together, we were going out to our spiritual practices, we were having a life. And then it came upon us. So I created this during the COVID lockdown period. I did portrait work, just singular portrait work of women in different places with nature, but singular. And I thought that was very interesting. I didn't do that intentionally. It just showed up for the time that was going on. This one's called Dark Water. She's a little bit up over her neck, but she can breathe and she can see above her. And that's what the plagues, the dark time was for us. We really were almost totally over our head. We had no direction of where we were going. And it was dark water, but it was also uncharted water. We just didn't know. And that's what this collage represents. This was also cut out with magazine, and I cut out some background paper with texture, and then I finished it with digital. This is post-COVID. I call it Garden Party. The woman is planting her garden. She's back out into life, into nature. She probably has some tendencies to worship in nature because there's her deity. Everything's growing, insects, everything is back to us. We have our gifts back, and we come back with a much greater appreciation. And I really liked making the contrast between the dark water and the garden because the colors are just vibrant. And I think that's how we felt when we came out of that experience. So that's what Garden Party is. This collage is called Empress. And again, I cut out magazine. I had some cutout paper mandalas I used, and I finished it with digital. That's kind of my practice doing it. But I made her because I'm considering doing an oracle deck. And I just wanted to see if I could get into the mood and mystery and colors and feelings and deep meaning. And I love the fact that she's Empress, and there's this really deep kind of red wine color on her. So because of that, I'm gonna keep a promise to myself, and for my future project, I want to make a deck, an oracle deck. So that's where I'm headed in the future with my collages. I want to thank my art association, the Quabbin Art Association out of Belchertown. I've been a member with them for 2 years, and they have been so pivotal in me being able to exhibit, show my stuff, and talk about it. And so if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have pursued even showing my work. So a big thank you to Quabbin Art Association. If you'd like to contact me, find out more about my work, you can reach me at my Facebook page, Denise McQuiston Collage. and you can have a look at my work there. It'll be ongoing. I'll be showing more and more work as I go along. And thank you to M-PACT TV for having me. I really appreciate it.